Hey everyone, today I'm going to be showing you a neat F2L trick that I came up with that will hopefully help you to reduce how often you get nasty F2L cases. So as I'm sure a lot of you know, when you have a case here like this one for example, you can use an empty slot, or in other words a slot that has not been solved yet, to pair it up and then insert it. However, you can use which empty slot you use to your advantage. For example, let's suppose we have it at this angle right here. Right here we can see that we have this slot that is not solved, and this case obviously sucks, and unless we do something to this slot, this is going to end up being our last case that we solve, and like I said, this case absolutely sucks. So what we can do instead is, instead of rotating and just solving it like this, what we can do instead is that from this angle, before we rotate, we can use this empty slot, which will get this out of there, and then solve it like this. And now as you can see, this is a much nicer case, and we avoid having to do a really nasty case like that. So which empty slots should you be trying to use to avoid those bad cases? Well, I think one case that you definitely should do it on is when you have in this slot that you're using, you have the pieces that are supposed to go there in the solved position, but they're not in there correctly, because like I said, unless you do something with this slot, that's going to end up being your last case, and most of these cases just suck. So if you ever see that, you should definitely try to use that slot while solving one of your F2L pairs, like this. So now we have this out, and it's much nicer to solve. And another example of when you should use an empty slot is if you have one of the middle edges in there, especially if it's not flipped correctly, because when you go to solve this, if you were to solve it from here, you would most likely have to do a rotation, because this piece cannot be put in there correctly with just R, U, and L moves. So if you ever see an edge in here like this, then it's a good idea to get it out of there, so that way the next time you rotate, it'll be ready for you to solve. So I could just do this one, and now I can rotate and it's all ready to go. Otherwise, I might have had to rotate again if I hadn't done that. And as a general rule of thumb, the best F2L cases are the ones where you have both of your pieces up here in the top layer and there's not one stuck down there. So especially if it's not in its home slot, it will definitely be easier if you can somehow get those out of the unsolved slots so you can start doing them later. So that in general is when you should use this trick. Now that being said, of course your look ahead needs to be good enough so that you can see in a slot while you're solving another pair that you have something unsolved, and you can make the decision consciously so that you can use that slot to solve another F2L pair so that you can get those pieces out. So thank you all for watching. I hope this little trick was helpful, and if you guys have any other ideas about this, then feel free to leave them in the comments. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you on my next video.